Hey guys, welcome to Splatoon Saturday, your weekly source for all the latest on Splatoon.
AMIIBO!
Good morning everyone. So although it is Monday, we're here with a Splatoon Saturday Plus. That's because Nintendo decided to spam us with a ton of new information on brand new weapons and brand new abilities, as well as loads of information on the tweaks that we're receiving to old weapons and old abilities. There's a ton of super exciting information here for people who are into playing Splatoon, not competitively, but just in any capacity where you're understanding the gear and the weapons and stuff. It's just really exciting to any Splatoon player, so I can't wait to go over this. Most of this information is posted on the Splatoon Tumblr page in English, thankfully. It was originally on Twitter, but luckily this morning it got translated to English, so I'm so glad I started to work on it this morning instead of yesterday. That would have been terrible, reading all the badly translated Japanese. Anyway, because it's all here, I'm just gonna go ahead and read out each description of each of the weapons and maybe talk about a little bit, especially if there are changes to it. The blaster is a relative of the shooter family, but it fires balls of ink that explode in midair. It's a bit lacking in range and fire rate, but when it hits, it hits. And when it doesn't hit, it can still hit thanks to the ink explosion. They used hit way too many times there. It comes equipped with a Toxic Mist sub and a Splashdown special. That's pretty much the description of the classic blaster, and they've not really outlined any changes there. But we do have a new sub weapon, the Toxic Mist, so we'll learn more about that later. And of course the Splashdown, but you know, people have actually tried out the Splashdown in the global test fire. Alright, now we have a brand new sub-weapon. It's the Toxic Mist I was talking about. This new sub-weapon is called Toxic Mist. Once thrown, opponents caught in the mist move slower and their ink is slightly reduced. The longer you're in the mist, the stronger the effect becomes. This one's really interesting. It's actually basically a replacement for the Disruptor, or at least it seems like the Disruptor is gone, and the picture of it makes it look almost identical to the Disruptor. It's a little bit different though, because although you move slowly just like as before and your ink is slightly reduced, it's an area of effect attack this time rather than being a timed effect that gets less strong or that disappears eventually as time goes on. This one is if you stay in that same place as time goes on, the effect will get stronger. So basically it's like, get out of there. So I suppose you could use that as a sort of wall to prevent people from going a certain path, or I don't know the uses of it quite yet, but it's definitely different from a Disruptor where you're aiming for a single opponent and trying to take them out of action for a couple of seconds. This is much more about the area. Here's the brief on the Octobrush. It's great for brushing up your skills. The Octobrush is a brush with dense bristles that fling a thick stream of ink with each swipe. Geez, that was hard to say. It comes equipped with the Autobomb sub and the Ink Jet special to keep distant foes on their toes. That whole thing was a tongue twister. Again, we're about to hear about the Autobomb next. Looks like the Octobrush is exactly the same as before as far as we know. This new sub weapon is the Autobomb. As its name implies, once thrown, it'll automatically start walking towards a nearby opponent. When it approaches the opponent, it stops and goes kersplat. So a lot of people were just assuming that Curling Bomb was the replacement for the Seeker, and although that's kind of true, I think this one resembles the Seeker a lot more. And it looks like they toned down the speed and maybe increased its ability to track people. I'm not entirely sure, and it's really hard to say what this will be used for without seeing it in action. For now, we only have pictures. Either way, it definitely looks like some sort of a nerf for the Seeker, or at least a slightly different idea. This is the Splattershot Pro, developed for more advanced users by the team behind the Splattershot. It has incredible precision and solid range. Great for players who have a lot of faith in their accuracy and positioning. This set comes equipped with a point sensor sub, and you can cover your teammates with the Ink Storm special. Once again, no changes to this classic weapon, but let's take a look at the brand new special, the Ink Storm. I mean, we did get a little bit of a look at it in a trailer, but it's never been named or looked at properly before. This special is called the Ink Storm. Throw this device to create a cloud that rains ink down onto the battlefield. The cloud gradually moves away from where the device was thrown. It's a bit of a vague description, but if we take it at face value, it looks like it doesn't do any damage and just rains down actual ink that covers turf on the battlefield. This will make your opponents not able to really walk around properly unless of course they have the ink resistance equipped, but otherwise they'll be a lot slower and confused, and you'll cover extra turf. The design of this weapon looks really cool, but it's kind of creepy because it obviously resembles a chemical super weapon of some sort, and you're raining down this like toxic ink from the sky. So another one of these cool kind of more mature themes coming through in Splatoon, but at the same time, if you're a kid and you don't understand these things, then you can completely ignore it. I love it. I love that about Splatoon. This handy sub weapon is the point sensor. If thrown near opponents, it'll mark them temporarily, revealing their location to your teammates. This is exactly the same as the previous point sensor, but with a new design just on the looks of it. This is the Dynamo Roller. High strength and long range are its game, but its motor does weigh it down a smidge. It comes with ink mines as a sub, and the Stingray special allows for taking down foes from a comfortable distance. This set appeals to those too stubborn to give up ink turf. Again, this weapon looks like it's exactly the same as in the previous game, besides the subs and specials of course. This is the Ink Mine sub weapon. Basically, it's a trap that you can place on the ground. When an opponent gets close, it activates, revealing their location to your teammates. You can place up to 2 at once. So, the old Ink Mine is completely gone. This is a completely different weapon. This one really surprised me. So now you can place 2 of them. That's hardly the biggest change. They no longer blow up and splat your opponents, although they may cover some turf. I can't tell what they're trying to show there, but they definitely don't do damage. Instead, they basically act as a point sensor when your opponent steps on them. I guess this is good for making sure you don't get flanked. I'm very confused by this change, but we'll find out later if it makes its way into competitive or not. This is the Splashomatic, a weapon fine-tuned for highly accurate barrages. It's a little lacking in power, but provides a good cover spread with its rapid fire. It comes equipped with a Toxic Mist sub and Inkjet special. This set is recommended for aggressive players who want to lay the splat down. Funnily enough, this is my favorite set in Splatoon 1, or at least the Splashomatic gun. I love how accurate it is, but also it's a rapid fire weapon, so you can combine your reliance on accuracy with this crazy aggressive mentality, which is totally me. That's me in pretty much every game these days, is overly aggressive, all up in your face, trying to be a hero. That's what I normally call my sort of class, is the hero, where for better or for worse, I try and just get up in there and outmaneuver everyone. And that doesn't work in every game, but I just love using the Splashomatic in Splatoon 1. It'll be interesting to see what the Toxic Mist sub and the Inkjet special do for it, because I don't believe there were any alternate loadouts for the Splashomatic, so I'm really psyched about this, and I'm hoping they'll do a deco version or some sort of other brand version as well. This is the latest model of the iconic Splattershot, an all-round weapon that's great for mastering the basics of battle. It comes equipped with the burst bombs as a sub weapon and splashdown as a special. I don't think there's anything more we need to say about this. The Splat Roller represents the roller class of weapons that excel at close combat and inking turf. Tap to fling ink, or just ink the ground as you run. This set comes with the Curling Bomb sub and Splashdown special. The roller also allows you to perform a vertical swing that sends ink flying further than a standard swing. This is the Splat Charger, a weapon designed for long range offense. Charge up ink, then release it to fire it all out at once, inking a long path in an instant. This weapon can store its charge, allowing you to swim around for a short time without losing your charge. This kit comes with Splat Bomb sub-weapons and a Stingray special. The roller and the Splat Charger both have an additional thing. The roller gets its vertical swing, and the Splat Charger gets the storage charge when you go underneath the ink. Both of these are interesting, but I think we've talked enough about these in previous videos, and you guys have gotten to play them and try them out, so we'll just move on. This is the Splatter Scope, for those that like to stay safe and shoot from afar. The added scope allows for more effective long distance aiming, great for hitting far off targets, but your view is narrow while charging. Because the fancy scope takes up so much space, the ability to store the charge has been dropped from this model. This set comes equipped with the Splatbomb sub-weapons and a Stingray special. So it's now a little more clear what that ability to store your charge is actually for. It's a bit of a balancing thing to make non-scoped chargers and all sorts of other charger type guns a little more effective in close combat and in just situations where you have to move around, because most of the time people were choosing the scoped equivalents. The Splat Dualies are the standard model of the new Dualies weapon class. You can carry one in each hand, and their propulsive exhaust nozzles allow you to perform high-speed dodge roll. You can't move for a brief period immediately after rolling, but the two sights overlap during that time, increasing your accuracy and fire rate. This base set comes with the burst bombs, sub, and the Tenta missiles special. Nothing new here, I'm pretty sure we all got that beforehand. It's a bucket! The slosher can be a brutal weapon in the right hands. It's basically a bucket of ink that you can toss straight at an opponent. No nonsense. Also, great for attacking elevated positions behind walls. This base set comes with a suction bomb, sub, and Tenta missiles special. I really like how they recognize that people just call it the bucket. You know, nobody calls it the slusher, it's just the bucket, and they're like, fine, it's the bucket now. This bad boy is the heavy Splatling. The mechanics are similar to those of a charger, but it's in a class of its own. Compress your ink, then release to unleash a fat stream of ink from the cannon. Each charge uses a huge amount of ink, and charging it leaves you exposed for a while, so play smart. This set comes with the Sprinkler sub and a Stingray special. The Sprinkler sub weapon can attach to the ground or walls and spray ink. It operates at full power when placed, but gradually gets weaker. You can place one at a time. This is an interesting change from the original Sprinkler that just stayed at full power the entire time. It may be because the Sprinkler was a little bit overpowered when it came to killing people. If you accidentally stepped in front of it, it killed you really quickly. Like, you got to be really careful, and then it took a while to kill as well, so it could be used effectively as a sort of wall or a decoy when placed on like the tower or a splat zone or something. This special weapon is called the Stingray. Holding down the fire button will fire a high pressure jet of ink that can pierce walls. It's so powerful that you can't change direction quickly while firing. However, when you're not firing, it allows you to see the location of opponents on the other side of walls. Now this is interesting because they did a little bit of an about face on how this weapon actually works. When we were playing it in the demo, you could not see behind walls, so and it was very hard to hit people. So I think it's a welcome fix that you can now see behind walls when you're not firing, to sort of reevaluate where you should be firing. But you know, you can't scan for opponents and just fire at them while you're moving around and firing, but you can at least not waste the entire special looking for people and just barely tapping them every so often. That is kind of the worst. Before we move on to the power-ups, they noted this. The Squid Beacon and Splash Wall aren't present in the E3 demo, but they will be in Splatoon 2 when it launches until July 21st. We also believe that there may be other weapons and devices that haven't been discovered yet. Our research continues. So what they're saying is every single weapon that has been mentioned here is available to play at E3. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be at E3, but at least that means we're going to be seeing gameplay of all of this jam, which is super exciting. It also means that we'll be getting the Squid Beacon and the Splash Wall right on the release date. And finally, their little remark about weapons still to be discovered, it's pretty obvious that means that there's going to be some free DLC coming soon with new weapons and new devices and such. Alright, moving on to all this talk about abilities. There's some new abilities and some information on the improvements or nerfs to some previous abilities. So, first off, in the upcoming Splatoon 2 World Inkling Invitational, selection of 14 different types of gear abilities will be available, giving players some options. All abilities at E3 will be in their initial state. In other words, no gear sub-abilities will be unlocked. So all they're saying here is that you can choose from those 14 different types of gear abilities at the tournament, and maybe at the E3 demos as well. I'm not so sure. And also all of the gear will just have the main ability with none of the sub abilities. Pretty simple. Now all the question marks surrounding this picture imply that there are more, if not a lot more, abilities to come as well, and other ones that we don't see here returning. But we'll find out about that later. Let's introduce a few of the gear abilities. This is Special Power Up. As the name implies, this ability raises the performance of the equipped special weapon. For example, when used in conjunction with Tenta missiles, the targeting reticule will be larger, making it easier to lock on to more opponents. Now I think it's quite obvious that this is a replacement for Special Time Up, or whatever it was called, that increased the time that your special was out. Instead, this increases something on each one of the specials. It's individual to each special. I think that makes a lot more sense, because the Special Time Up power was basically useless on a couple of specials where time didn't really matter. This gear ability is called Sub Power Up. As the name implies, this ability increases the performance of an equipped sub weapon. How performance changes is contingent on which sub is being used. For example, when using burst bombs, it's like the bomb range up ability from the previous Splatoon game. So you'll be able to throw bombs farther. With ink mines, the areas of effect will be larger. Again, this is another replacement, this time replacing the sub range up, which was entirely useless with certain things like the squid beacons. So they've just used this, so now your sub power up will be effective no matter what type of sub you're using. It'll be interesting to see what it does for each one of the subs. This gear ability is Ink Resistance Up. It reduces damage taken and improves mobility when walking through enemy ink. This ability was in the first game, but it was restricted to shoes as a main ability. In Splatoon 2, this ability is now stackable, meaning you can equip multiple instances of this ability to make it stronger. It's available on headwear and clothing, and can also be added as a sub-ability. Think about the fashion coordination possibilities. So this is just a little bit of a rejigging of Ink Resistance. It does the same thing, but now you can put it on everywhere, and you can increase its effect by a lot by stacking it on different gear. This is the Quick Respawn ability. When you get splatted more than once without taking down any opponents, this lets you respawn faster than normal. This is a slight tweak on the ability's function in the first game. I imagine some of the other returning abilities have been adjusted in kind. So yeah, Quick Respawn has been completely redone, where now you have to actually die without killing anyone to get your respawn ability. The reason for this is very obvious. People complained about people's just like stacking quick respawn and respawning faster than anyone, and then it doesn't really matter if you're better at 1v1s, you respawn faster than the other person, and so you get to the place faster than them, and even if you die twice as much as they do, the quick respawn makes up for that, so you just don't really need to play very well, and it kind of takes away from what's at the core of the game, which is, you know, the individual performing well and playing well. Now, although they do say there are some other adjustments coming to the abilities, I don't think any of them has been as majorly adjusted as these three, and I think that's why they featured them in this thing, but we'll find out about adjustments and patches and stuff later as well, probably. Woo! I have not put that much information in any Splatoon Saturday video before. That was intense. But you know what? I was kind of hyped this whole editing process. It's very hard work, to be honest, but this information was so interesting and fun that I actually loved it. So yeah, just let me know what change or what new weapon excites you the most, and just generally talk about all the jams in the comments. I'll be joining you guys in the comments because I'm super hyped about all of this. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, and of course subscribe to Everything AMIIBO for Splatoon Saturday every single Saturday, and of course more Nintendo toys and games. I will see you guys next Saturday.